Hey guys, welcome back. The Harvest League is less than 24 hours away, and I'm back with another video build guide. So this time it's for the Earthshatter Juggernaut, and that's because no one's really playing it, and I like to do the new skill, so that's where we're at. The skill's actually pretty good once you plug it into part of the building. It's looking juicy. It's not quite super updated, but once you get the Fist of War support skill and then the new Warcry skills, it's looking to be a screen-wide AoE monster. So that's really good. There's not really any gameplay for it, so I'm just rolling GGG, whatever footage I could get. I just fucking collaged it all together. That's what you're seeing. I'll hopefully have a video up within a day or two of League launch showing how to level video. That was popular with my kinetic bolt. And some like gameplay and stuff just to showcase how the skill's going. If it's dog shit and all that stuff. First off, we have the pros of the build. The pros are that Warcries are actually fucking insane this time around. I've usually not been a fan of Warcries. I kind of steer away from them a little bit. I've just found it like clunky. But with the way it interacts with the Earthshatter skill, it's looking to be really good, and it provides huge bonuses to our attacks through the use of exertion. We get things like screen-wide AoE clear thanks to the new support Fist of War, which every 2 seconds from 1.8 seconds, Ancestral Coil, but Ancestral Being slams down with our attack to make it mega juiced. We also have the new addition of the reduced enemy stun thresholds. They're overall, they haven't really said how much, but GG overall is reducing how hard it is to stun enemies, so we have a much easier time stunning them. On top of being Jug, it's very tanky, reliable. Should be okay. The previous build I made, Connect Bolt, was low life to say the least, so it got dumpstered pretty hard in Delirium. I've decided this time around, fuck that. I don't want to fuck with it. I don't want to get dumpstered, so we're just going for a tanky, reliable boy, so we can fuck shit up. Next we have the cons. The cons is that it's not really zoom. It kinda is. I think dash and second wind will keep it like relatively decent. But it's not like fast as fuck. It's not literally fast as fuck channel. Like, it's not gonna do that well. Not that level. It's more for like planting your seeds, getting some sick crafts, and just beating the ever-living shit out of whatever spawns just in that screen. Because of this, some might find that like it's not a fun playstyle, especially with how you need to buff Warcries. You're constantly gonna be fucking, not constantly, but if every like decent rare pack and or like unique boss, you're gonna be doing 2 Warcries and then attacking like 5-6 times and then repeat. It's not the most enjoyable playstyle for some, and I know I never used to like it like that. I wanted one button to click, that's it. Cyclone, straight through the fucking pack. I didn't want anything else. So a lot of people might not enjoy it because of that. On top of that, a lot of the reduced physical damage on the tree got removed in places like Solar Steel and Brinkmanship and stuff. A lot of like reduction to phys damage got removed. We should be fine, we're Jug, we're tanky, but that can be a little rough, especially because we would have been much tankier. And lastly is that it's a new skill, it's unpredictable. Sometimes they can have interactions which you weren't expecting. Lately GGG's been pretty clear and it's been pretty clear cut, but I remember back in like Betrayal, whenever Purifying Flame got released, I think it was when Purifying Flame got released, I remember that shit was whack. Lance and Steel, that's the one. Lance and Steel was fucked, yeah. When that thing came out, that did not function at all how it was intended. So we should be alright with Earthshatter, but who knows, sometimes it can pull a quick one on us. Next up we got Offense. I mentioned it before, but we have the Exerted Attacks, which is when you Warcry, our Exerted Attacks are, it buffs your next attacks, and each consecutive attack does more damage. So for something like with Seismic Cry, you gain 30% more damage each attack. So your first slam will be 30% more damage, second slam will be 30%, then 60%. Your third attack will be 90% more damage, fourth attack 120% more damage, and then because we take a point on the tree, our fifth attack will be 150% more damage. It's actually crazy numbers. I was surprised when I saw how big they were, especially because they're more multipliers, so it's multiplicative. That's huge numbers. And this also gives great AoE, so it should be comfortable like clearing all the content we want Might be a little shaky in some of the final bosses, but for harvest purposes, it should be awesome. On top of that, we have Infernal Cry as our other war cry. So I just mentioned what Seismic Cry does, but Infernal Cry allows us to explode bodies pretty much, as it grants us like 60% conversion to fire damage, which is pretty good considering we don't have to like, that's like no investment at all. It's just a 0.2 second cast on our war cry. So it's pretty easy, roll fingers, boom, laters, and we don't even have to get the explosion corpse on the Crusader chest piece. Although if you do get the Crusader chest piece, that's pretty good as well. That's like, yeah, explosions all around the board, so that's ideal. Lastly on that Earthshatter is, it has a secondary part of the skill where if you Warcry or use another slam skill, all the fishes you create with Earthshatter will then explode. This works pretty well in conjunction with the fact that we're Warcrying, so slam 5 fucking times, the whole arena should be covered in fishes, and when you boom, just a huge explosion. So it's a really fun playstyle by the sounds of it, and when I think about it, but we'll have to see how it goes. Lastly, defense. Please don't roast me. This is how I actually go. You can roast me. We have 5,500 HP. For a Marauder, this is pretty low. I am so greedy. I can't help. I see all the points, and I just thirst for damage. I saw all the Warcry points, I saw the damage, and I was like, I need it. I need it. So this is based around level 90 though. If you hit level 92, you can comfortably get another 10% max life. I'm just greedy as hell. So we have 5,500 HP and 162% life on the tree. Very easy. You can get like comfortably more very easily. On top of that, I don't use cluster jewels, so you could easily do that as well. There's about 440 life regen, and that's not including the amount we get from Juggernaut. And we have a life leech rate of 1,100. As a Juggernaut, you can't be stunned, so that's an awesome, really awesome thing. But the best part about it is you can't be slowed by things like Uber Elder, Zone shit, I don't know what the name is, and Delirium effects and things like that. So temporal chains as well. Our action speed and our movement speed can't be slowed. It's not really something you notice until you put the node on for the first time, and then when you play without it, you really notice it. Last of all, for our defense is Unbreakable. That's the kind of core part of the Juggernaut. That's the one that grants us physical damage reduction, life gained, based on our physical damage taken in the past 10 seconds. So it's basically seen as like 15% life regen based on phys damage, I think. Something like that. Overall, Juggernaut, it speaks for itself. Alright, boys, I'll speed run through this section as, honestly, I imagine it's probably not that interesting to watch me gloss over a passive tree. If you happen to be watching this portion of the video and you actually find this interesting, please comment and let me know if you'd like me to talk more or whatever. But for all other purposes, I'll blitz through it. Saves time for the rest of us. So first of all, we have our Ascendancy. I'm going to go on flinching first, as I think getting endurance charge generation up as fast as possible is good. It helps us get extra elemental resistance through the levels and physical damage reduction and stuff like that. And it's just like a nice one to start off with. I'll go Undeniable second, as this gives us a huge portion of accuracy rating, and without this, we aren't hitting shit. Like, we're really fucking whiffing these shots, so we want this. You could go this third if you wanted. You could go Unstoppable second. It's up to you entirely. Unstoppable if you want like that 10% increased movement speed just to clutch up in the axe. But, I don't know. I think accuracy rating is just going to be better overall for Clear. But with that said, I'll take Unstoppable third. By the time we enter maps, or kind of entering maps when we do Merc Lab, we'll be wanting that action speed reduction, unmodifiable to bullet base value. It'll prevent us from getting fucked over, so and help us when we're rolling maps, get things like temp chains. You can just ignore that shit, go straight in. And then with our Uber Lab, we have Unbreakable. I think this is also optional with Unstoppable. You can perfectly switch this around, but I don't know. I think the Uber Lab damage, by the time we're getting into like Guardians or whatever, we'll have Uber Lab done. I think that's the only real point where we're like, oh shit, we're taking mad damage. So I'll grab Unbreakable last. Passive trees. Actually don't even need to really go over it. Here's the levelings. They're all in the bottom here, and I've just shown you all the leveling trees. Just be careful and be mindful when you're leveling to make sure you're upgrading your weapons. That's the one thing to look out for. I will be writing up in the notes for the POB just before League launch. Definitely go check the forum guide, get all the description. I'll put a new POB in there. I'll have a little leveling section in how to level up, how I'm going to level up, what gems I'm going to grab, etc. So with that said, we'll go into gems. So half the gems aren't in Path of Building at the moment, but I've just got them all named down the side here, if that's at all visible. So Earthshatter with Fist of War, because it's not there. So I've used an Earthquake as a supplementary for now. It's just the closest thing. But Earthshatter actually does far more damage than Earthquake. It has a damage effectiveness of 160%, whereas Earthquake has a damage effectiveness of 120. So it's a 30% damage increase on Earthquake. On top of that, it attacks faster. So it should be doing way more than this is showing. Yeah, it should be 1.2 million then. Like, just off the... That's really bad math. Don't listen to me at all. It's going to be more. So we'll take Pulverize for AoE, and obviously Fist of War is highly rated. I think Fist of War should be the first link you should get. Then Pulverize, followed by Fortify, which we buff in the skill tree down here. So we have reduced damage taken, etc. Then Awakened melee physical damage, if you can afford it. I'm not going to use it. Can't be bothered buying it. Although, there is a cheeky little mod in Harvest where you can sacrifice a gem and with a 5% chance to upgrade it into an Awakened type. So look out for that one if you have your melee fizzes. It's a sacrifice at level 20. It's a 5% chance, but fuck it, boys. Go for the gamble. And then Ruthless will be our last one. If you happen to get a Mahori Eki, try to pronounce that as nice as possible, then you could go for something like Impale as your final link rather than Pulverize. Next up we have the Aura setup. Because we have a very generous 2/6 links if you're rich, we can go for a juiced up Aura setup. We got the Pride, we got Blood and Sand. Pride's just for fizz damage, Blood and Sand's for AoE, that's why I like it. Flesh and Stone, blinding enemies. Flesh and Stone is the best defense you can ever get. It gives you like 50% evade chance because enemies are blinded, and we have a huge armor, so I always try and fit this in there. And obviously if you have the mana, buff it with Maim, so you're doing extra damage. Lastly, we have Dread Banner and Enlighten. I only put these two in if one, you have a 6 link, and 2, you can afford it. You can't always afford it with mana. We should be fine with our like mana reservations, but yeah, I honestly don't expect people to have 2 6 links dedicated to this. So as long as you got the top 3, that's the most important. For our movement, I'm going to be using the Dash and Second Wind combo, as it's far smoother and far faster than a Leap Slam, but you're free to use Leap Slam as well. And a Leap Slam will make it like cool explosions with your Earthshatter. I think it'll be really cool, but I've just never really liked the feel of Leap Slam that much, so I've been going Dash and Second Wind. And on top of that, with the Dash and Second Wind combo, we have Seismic Cry and Infernal Cry. These are our 2 Warcries. Having them linked to Second Wind gives them another use, so if we're just running around fucking around, they'll backlog and we can roll them a little sooner. It doesn't increase their speed or anything, but we have a lot of points in the tree for that. So you pretty much just want to roll, Taka Cat said this, but you pretty much want to roll Seismic Cry, Infernal Cry, and then your other buffs as well. So our cast when damage taken is real simple. We don't have to worry about levels too much, as we're fairly tanky, so we can take that damage. We'll have it all at level 20, and I have it with Increased Duration and Molten Shell, followed by Ice Golem, because I can't be bothered summoning it. We already have a million other buttons to press, so chuck that shit in there, free Ice Golem every now and then. Here's the optional Leap Slam. Blood Rage and Vow Ancestral Warchief are there just as a buff and single target damage. You can have anything else in this link, it really doesn't matter. I just chuck Leap Slam and faster attacks as every now and then maybe I want to switch, or if I get a really shit map I want to like Leap Slam through, that's fine too. And lastly, we have Vulnerability on hit on our ring, or Assassin's Mark on hit for our ring, because that's very, very good, and they're very comparable in DPS. Alright, moving on to the gear. This might look mega juiced. I feel like I've been reasonable with the crafting. The only cheeky bit I was cheeky with is the Crusader item, and the fact that I've got the AoE on stun. That's probably boosting the AoE a lot, but it's pretty reasonable. Into our two-handers in 3.11 have been buffed quite significantly, so it shouldn't be unachievable to get something at least at the level of this, considering you can get 100 DPS two-handers currently, and they've had a 15 to 20% increase on that. So it should be completely reasonable to get a 600 DPS item, and that we're after two-handed mace. Obviously, if you can get a Marahui Eki, get that, but otherwise rare item will do just fine. For our helmet, we got the Abyssus, Juicer. We have a lot of fizz damage reduction, so it should be fine to have this. And it just adds so much damage, it's hard to pass up. But you could go with something like a Rat's Nest or anything else if you wanted to. The Astral Plate, this thing is fucked, but this isn't required at all. Just go for max life with some whatever resistance you need and high armor. And if you have an unlimited budget with it, if you're league starting, you probably don't, but you could build into it. You could go for something like attacks have crit chance and explosion chest piece. This one was priced at 20x, it's on standard though, but this is the ideal one that you want to work towards. So I've left it in there as like a chase item, chase craft or whatever. I think it feels like it's better that way. For the gloves and boots, just resistance and max life, you can feel those out. And obviously movement speed for the boots. The Amulet and Rings are basically just damage. I didn't even grab max life on the amulet. For the ring, this ring I grabbed max life, and you want to make sure one of your rings has the either Assassin's Mark on hit or Vulnerability on hit. And then lastly we have just a pure damage ring with max life. For our belt we have Ryslatha's Coil. It's pretty standard in melee builds now. It's just such a good item, especially when augmented with quality attack modifiers. And you want to look for the smallest, less minimum physical attack damage roll you can get, and the highest, more maximum phys attack damage roll you can get. That way, when you augment it, it's like works out. It's good for us. It doesn't fuck us, etc. And that's how you get the most damage. These are our flasks, pretty basic: staunching, bleeding, quicksilver, adrenaline, diamond flask of heat, and then Adzeres and Lion's Roar. The jewels are just max life with all res, and just like very basic crit multi or attack speed. There's nothing too fancy there. Alright, final note, because I forgot to add this. Bandits, we want to go with the Allura or Aramir for the passive points. Allura is pretty good for the resist and crit multi. And you can always go Aramir for the passive points, they're pretty good. For Anointment, you want to anoint Blacksmith's Clout. This is the best anointment. Otherwise, there are some other options. You could go defense, you could go discipline and training, or you could go for purity of flesh. Or if you wanted to go damage, you could grab a True Strike, or something like Assassination is also another really good option. But overall, Blacksmith's Clout, pretty cheap essence, pretty cheap oil to get, and I think that's the best option. So yeah, and for Pantheon, just I don't know, Lunaris, Shikari, maybe Shikari, maybe Grithcool? Yeah. Probably Shikari. Just reduced it. You can't go wrong with reduced chaos damage. And that's it for the video. Well, thank you for watching. If you got this far, like, subscribe, do all the algorithm stuff, you know that. I'll be playing pretty no life, as basically all of us are, for the Harvest League. Quarantine's been a bit boring, but we're there now. We can play more Poe for a bit. Within a week of starting the Pro League, actually, I have to move house, so that's what I'll be doing a week after. But the good thing about that is, in Australia, we have a really dog shit internet. I'm moving somewhere with good internet, so I'll be able to stream and do all that fancy shenanigans shit. So if you like watching the build, you have any questions, feel free to roll into the stream and watch it. I'll leave links and all that in the description. I know I get a lot of questions in the forum guide, and I'm slacking sometimes, I ain't gonna lie. It be you, there's a lot of yous. There's one me. And there's 600 replies to that thread. In this thread. Let me elaborate. This thread. You guys flood me, and I love it. So, instead of flooding this, flood the stream. It'd be far easier for me to watch it and like respond live, rather than the hour a day which I do. If anyone's familiar with this forum, man, I get flamed hard sometimes. You guys go off. I don't think we'll come across one in particular, but yeah, you guys go hard. I appreciate it though. I get a lot of views. It's very helpful for me. These forums do really well. I'm very happy. But yeah, if you have any questions, just jump into the stream or post it in the comments in the forum anyway. It's all good for algorithm reasons. Yeah, so thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoy the guide.